believe that we started recording right in the middle of 2020 with all of the COVID and lockdowns going on around us, unable to meet up. So like many a young gentleman, we turned to the internet for our entertainment. Tried to find a place where we could meet up and talk about the good, the bad, and that time that Stu saw a pelican on the canal. In order to facilitate our dreams of answering all of the big questions in film, and after a few attempts at recording via other methods to various levels of success, we found Zencastr, a super easy web-based one-stop shop for recording. Log in and you're ready to record in a matter of seconds. It doesn't take a tech genius to get high-quality audio or video. And on top of that, the one time we have had an issue, the fact that the multi-layered backups are stored locally means it's easily fixed all in browser. There are plenty of tools you need when you start podcasting, so let Zencastr take that headache away as it offers a place to record, edit and distribute all from one website. Any lazy bones Jones can pick up and play and have studio quality audio or 4K video put out for the world to see when using Zencastr. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code CAGEFIGHTING and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. And now, hit the music.
I feel the need for speed.
After last week of having like all four of us for the very first time to now be back down to the same old two is quite unusual. It's your main man, Andy Gillard here. Hope everybody's keeping well out there.
Oh, that was recorded. I just thought you were just rambling on. Yeah, no, we're back.
I started and I thought, well, I might as well just carry on. We're going as it is.
Yeah. Building castles in the sky. It's just the two of us today.
Stu, we're done with the 1980s now until we move on to our next actor. That's one thing I quite like about doing it in chronological order, actually, compared to how we did it with Cage. Is I do like that we see like a bit of progression here. We can see where we started and where we are at this point in his timeline. I kind of like that growth. I don't know if we ever did it, like if we was doing Cage, would you want to start from the start, or were you like happy with the way we just sort of dived around?
It made more sense, I think, for that, because a lot of his early stuff, like, no, we don't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. Like Cruise, I mean, you go what? Risky Business was probably the first one that I knew of. Other than The Outsiders, because we've seen it before. So that made sense. But Raising Arizona was probably the first one I can remember. Well, one of the earliest one that was in my mind for Cage. And I think, just imagine the drag that we would have had a whole like 2 years of just doing shit films every week.
I mean, it almost came down to that at one point because of leaving all the dross to the very end. It was a bit of a struggle for a few weeks, wasn't it? But I think you're right, because Endless Love, Taps, Losing It, The Outsiders, they're four films that I knew nothing about. I know we knew a little about The Outsiders because of the Cage of it all. But in Cruise terms, those are four pretty small ones. But then the fifth film is Risky Business. We've got a big movie there. Legend has got like a bit of a cult status about it. Top Gun. It doesn't take long to get moving with Tom Cruise, whereas with Nicolas Cage, if I go back to the start of his, like The Best of Times, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, The Outsiders, Valley Girl, Rumblefish, Racing with the Moon, The Cotton Club, Birdie, The Boy in Blue, Peggy Sue Got Married in 1986, and then Raising Arizona in 87. So you've got a much longer running, I think, with Cage compared to Cruise, where it doesn't take long for him to, ironically, pun intended, take off.
Yeah, and I think when we were debating who to do next, I think when I mentioned Jim Carrey at one point, that would be very similar with him as well, because there's like nothing before like 94.
I'm thinking Earth Girls Are Easy might be the first early films of his, which I don't think many people are going to know that one, in fairness.
No, I've got no idea. I know that name. I've never seen it. I remember seeing it when I was like, I'm going to say like maybe 10, 11 years old. And he plays a alien. I can't remember which one he plays. I think it might be the red one. Like they each look like a methed out
Teletubby, I suppose you'd say. I think that was one of his early films, and that was pre knowing who the hell Jim Carrey was. So it wasn't until years later that I knew about this film, the existence of it. I mean, yeah, we've got Rubberface, All in Good Taste, Copper Mountain, The Sex and Violence Family Hour, an episode of Buffalo Bill, Finders Keepers, The Duck Factory, Once Bitten, Peggy Sue Got Married, The Deadpool, then Earth Girls Are Easy in 1980. I mean, we're still, realistically, he doesn't become Jim Carrey in inverted commas until 1994, Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
So we've got from 81 to 94. That again, that's another long run-in for someone of his ilk. But then once it hits, he's got a great filmography after that point.
Yeah, what was the Mask? The Mask 96.
I want to say 95. Was it the one directly after Ace Ventura? Ace Ventura, 94, apparently. Huh. Dumb and Dumber was also 94. So he had 3 very decent hits. I didn't particularly like The Mask, but Dumb and Dumber I thought was excellent. And I loved Ace Ventura. Batman Forever was 95, and so was Ace Ventura When Nature Calls.
But no, that's a good 2 years.
Mm-hmm. How on earth is he fit in that many films? And he's the lead in all of them.
Yeah. I mean,
and then
was
Cable Guy was 96.
And Liar Liar was 97.
Yeah.
Truman Show. I think that 4-year period.
Yeah, it's incredible. 98. 99 was Man on the Moon. So if you look at the mid to late 90 run, I'd stand that up against most actors, to be perfectly honest. Comedically and dramatically, there's some tremendous movies in that period of time, that 5-year run. Exceptional.
Did everyone run around at school saying, somebody stop me?
Mm-hmm.
All the time?
I mean, I did. I loved Ace Ventura. Yeah, the Mask didn't quite hit for me, though. I don't know what it was about it. It was just okay.
No, I love The Mask. Only that one, not the other stupid things.
Haven't
Some
seen
of the
them,
Mask
to be fair.
and all them.
I'd heard they were like not even so bad they're good. They're just bad.
Yeah, it's like Lion King 2, like straight to VHS kind of shit.
Yeah, not worth the effort.
No, not at all.
The only thing I'd say against Jim Carrey's, I think there's too many runs of just comedy. Like he hasn't got a lot of variation until you get over halfway through his filmography.
Yeah, but he was a comedian, though.
I mean, he sort of was. He was a comedic actor, but he's definitely got more about him than that. It just took him a bit too long to really get going.
So now when we see him in Peggy Sue, he's like, what? He's not pissing about?
Yeah. Did you ever watch Kidding, the TV show that he did?
No.
That was good. I really enjoyed that. He plays a kid's TV show presenter, and it's like years after his relevance.
Oh, no.
So it's got like it's quite a dark comedy. Judy Greer's in it. We'd be quite like Judy Greer. Frank Langella also. I'm sure it was like HBO or Showtime. So it's got that sort of grown-up quality to it as well. Really good.
Yeah, you couldn't do that here, could you?
I did no. Not without Operation U-Tree getting involved. Right, Stu. So we're done with the 80s, as I said. So that means we have watched Endless Love, Taps, Losing It, The Outsiders, Risky Business, All the Right Moves, Legend, Top Gun, The Colour of Money, Cocktail, Young Guns, Rain Man, Born on the 4th of July. So we've watched 13 films of Tom Cruise's already. So I've got a few awards that we need to hand out for Cruise's 1980s run. What was his best performance in the 1980s? He's got a couple of big hitters. I mean, personally, I don't mean to jump in having asked the question. It's either Rain Man or it's Born on the 4th of July for me.
Yeah,
that's an actual actor performance.
Yeah. I liked Born on the 4th of July better than Rain Man. And I know you're probably going to say the opposite.
Yeah, I think he's got a better performance in Rain Man, and I do prefer Rain Man as a film. But he's very, very good. Like, there's a reason he was Oscar nominated for Born on the 4th of July. I can't really argue if you were to say that that's the best performance. It's almost like 1A and 1B between those two, because I think they're both just exceptional performances.
I think just because it's an Oscar bait tick boxy nonsense thing of because he's playing a paraplegic and he's going the extra mile and dragging his legs across the floor and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a physical performance as well as
it's a complete performance,
a vocal
isn't it?
one, and there's more.
Like the wheelchair isn't doing any of the heavy lifting in there. It's him. Yeah. I'm more than happy to agree with you and give that award to Born on the 4th of July. What was the worst performance, though?
Again,
I've got one that immediately sticks out for me. I wonder if you'll have the same one. I wonder what one will come to your mind.
I mean, if you came to the ones that he's not really in,
I mean,
Legend was...
He's all right. Yeah, Legend was the one that came to my mind.
Legend was shit. It was a shit film.
He was just so nondescript, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I like that. That was the one for me that immediately sprang to mind. Losing It was just such a generic teen comedy, but he wasn't awful in it. But I don't think he was good in Legend. Like, even in Endless Love, he's in it for all of 20 seconds, but it was the best 20 seconds of the film.
Yeah, he stole it with on that bench.
He did. So yeah, I'm with you on that one as well. Legend is the worst performance. Best sunglasses, though. What you saying?
I mean, it's got to be Top Gun, hasn't he?
The Aviators.
Yeah.
See, I like the Wayfarers from Rain Man.
Yeah, but no one remembers that today.
They don't.
You know what?
And in fairness, Risky Business as well. Like, just cool.
I was seriously looking at some Wayfarers today, but the better ones with the little cameras in. And then I thought, well, because you can play podcast through the ear things, can you?
Yeah,
because they got open speakers.
They look clunky as fuck, though. The ear arm things. That's my only problem with them. They're like the facial version of, when people have got one leg shorter than the other and they've got the big clumpy heels and the shoes. They look like that, but for the face, and I can't bring myself to, no.
I mean, the reason I stopped was because I saw the price. And so then I thought, well, okay, what about Gen 1 refurbished? See, I don't even know where this came from. I just had a thought again. I mean, this was thankfully before I saw the Star Fox trailer, which now all spare money needs to be saved and diverted that way. But I thought, I've never owned any Wayfarers. And then I went on Vinted and there was like normal ones on there for 70 quid. Mm-hmm. I thought, I don't wear sunglasses enough to...
It's the problem being like a normal glasses where I have to put my contacts into them, wear my Ray-Ban Wayfarers. It's a pain, but I look good in them, so it's worth it.
I mean, on the beach or when it's in the summer, I'll walk around with sunglasses on all the time. Mm. So that makes some kind of sense. But if I'm walking around with sunglasses recording, it's a different beast altogether.
It is a bit.
Yeah, so yeah, Top Gun is the answer.
See, I think he looks better in Rain Man. We'll have to get a ruling on this from the others, I think.
Yeah, I mean, which is iconic? It's Top Gun, the Aviators.
I think those three are quite iconic. Risky Business, Top Gun, and Rain Man. I think they're all quite iconic images of Cruise. They're. I think when you think of young Cruise, that's the image you have is him stepping out of the car in Rain Man with the glasses. It's him sat in the cockpit in Top Gun. Risky Business is probably the dancing, in fairness, isn't it? Dancing to old time rock and roll. Those are the three ages of Cruise, I think. So I think we might need to get a ruling on that from the others when they're on next week. Best Maverick, it's Top Gun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that's the proto Maverick, I think. Because that's very much a caricature, a character type that he performs time and again. The cocky young upstart that is trying to impress his mentor whilst also facing a similar bad guy to himself. Best Maverick is Maverick. Best film. No, I've got best film and best movie down. So what's the best film of the bunch here?
Rain Man. By mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Best film then. I'm almost certainly going to agree that it's Top Gun because I'm certain that's what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the worst experience of the bunch?
I mean, Legend, obviously. But then Tim Curry was class in it, so there's that redeeming feature.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm leaning, and why Endless Love, whilst he was good in it, the rest of the film was utter dog shit.
I mean, I liked it better than most people, I think. I didn't really like Taps, though. I thought Taps was a bit boring.
Oh, I quite enjoyed Taps. Like, it's not my type of film, generally speaking, but I thought everyone was pretty solid in it, and it told an interesting enough story. I thought Endless Love just felt weird, and with the hindsight of knowing that she was underage, kind of uncomfortable.
You didn't know, though, so it's okay.
I don't think that's how it works, Stu.
I mean, Legend just screams it. So even with Tim Curry, it's going to have to be Legend because I'll never watch that ever again.
I'll never watch Endless Love, Losing It, Legend. I won't watch any of those three again. Probably, actually, you know what? Cocktail. I think I hated Cocktail. It didn't really have any redeeming features, whereas Legend had the performance from Tim Curry. Losing It, I kind of liked Cruz and Diane from Cheers. What's her name? I kind of liked their chemistry together. I thought that was pretty good. Shelley Long, that's the one. I liked their chemistry. And obviously the other one, Endless Love, is significant because it's Cruz's debut. I'm going to say that I probably had the least fun in the 1980s watching Cocktail.
I mean, I didn't like...
I suspect the other two would probably argue that Young Guns might be the one.
Oh, God.
I enjoyed Young Guns, but I recognise that I'm the only one.
Yeah, I don't think... Yeah, Young Guns was awful. And the fact that I couldn't even figure out where he was... I'll take it back. Yeah, Young Guns was awful. An awful experience. I was bored. Even though the sheer amount of gunfire, I was bored watching that.
Okay, so we need a ruling on Sunglasses and worst experience from the other pair to see if we can come to it. I'm going to stick with Cocktail. I'm quite surprised that on IMDb, Cocktail's got a 6.0 and Young Gun's got a 6.8. It's got to be the nostalgia factor, surely. Because I think it's the nostalgia factor why I don't hate Young Guns, in fairness. But it probably is between those two, in fairness. Right, okay, so the episode today, we said we were going to be doing South Park this week. We're watching a short film called Soft Rain from 2023, and then we're starting our journey into the 90s with Days of Thunder. Right, Stu, South Park. Next to The Simpsons, like this is the juggernaut of adult animation, isn't it? I think, like I made reference to The Simpsons being the Beatles of animation last week. You know, they're polished, it's melodic, eventually probably a little bit toothless, so much so that your nan can enjoy it. Whereas South Park, I think, is the Sex Pistols. It's loud, it looks like shit, it's aged quite well, surprisingly. It exists primarily to piss off a lot of people who live in the suburbs. So I think that would be the comparison if you're talking musically.
Yeah, I'll get that.
And I think where The Simpsons looked at the lie of domesticity on TV, South Park looks at everything else, in fairness. The Simpsons held a mirror to the family. South Park smashed the mirror and tries to shiv you with it. Every element of life is on the table for Trey and Matt. Like politics, religion, celebrity, moral panics, internet culture, the news cycle. They've touched everything. I don't think there's an element that they haven't, even if they haven't hit the target, they've tried to satirise pretty much everything going.
Yeah, and pioneering Well, there's probably a reason no one else did it, and it's the reason why it looks like it does, because to make it that quickly, so that they can be relevant.
An animated TV show turning an episode around in 6 days is absolutely insane. Like, I don't think there's any other way of putting it. It is mental to have done something like that.
I mean, even if you don't like South Park, that documentary, I can't even remember the name of it now, is ridiculous. You know the one I'm on about, the one where like it's
where we go to South Park Studios for like the first time.
I remember on the VHS and the DVDs where they had the fireside chats and stuff.
Yeah.
They had a different dog each time.
I loved that.
No, this was a document. It must have been a Comedy Central thing where it was a special that they put up about the making of and how it's done in the writer's room and all this kind of thing, and how they just go from they're just sitting there pissing about, and then someone comes with an idea, then just write it down and we'll take it from there. And he just looks like a complete, absolute chaos. Like, how's anything ever get done? And it works. It's worked for 20 odd years.
It's incredible. I think we've gone from like questioning the realities of the American dream with The Simpsons to questioning the realities of the American psyche within South Park, like the hypocrisy, the outrage, the tribalism, stupidity, and contradictions that seem to just abound from there. They've taken away like relatable caricatures and given absurd lunatics to tell their stories about the absurdity of society. They make it even more ridiculous by doing so. And it all comes about at the moment the world started its slippery slope into this ridiculous fractured mess that we're currently in. Like, it was the Clinton scandals, the culture wars, 24-hour rolling news cycles, the rise of the internet and social media. Like, South Park was there then, and it's still here now. It's less a reflection and more of a diagnosis of the ills of the world. And I think that might explain its longevity somewhat.
Yeah, well, the fact that I heard about it on the morning of the first episode being shown on Sky One, on Soccer AM, which was a kind of punk rock and roll TV, as much as it could be in the 90s, on a satellite channel like that, obviously promoting another Sky product, as it was, and then it doing what it did from there. There was no preview for it. There was nothing. There was no build-up whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, it just came out of nowhere. We Lovejoy saying, "Oh, everyone watch this on Sky One tonight." So, being a deep Lovejoy stan as I was at the time, I had to watch it after I got back from the match and never looked back.
I remember it slightly early because it was on Channel 4, I think season 1 was. And it was like late night on a Wednesday or something ridiculous. And that was how I found it. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 episodes in. And that was how I found it. And then, obviously, because it gained so much momentum, Sky quickly snapped it up and it never looked back from that point onwards. I think one of the things that South Park have done to some success and to some failure as well is obviously that they've been an equal opportunity offender. Like, the philosophy is kind of simple. If you're going to call one person a moron, you're going to call everyone a moron. And that's sort of how they worked. I think it was the first time that adult animation felt dangerous almost. I mean, it was, what was the year that it started, Stu? 95? 96?
97.
Or was it 97? So at that point, 14 years old we would have been. And I think, I can't remember if it was 15 or 18 was the first season when it was out on DVD. It did feel very subversive being a mid-aged teenager at that point, watching something like this that felt not scrubby in the way of like Euro trash, but not far off it at the same time. Like, it did feel very, it almost felt naughty, like I shouldn't be watching this shit.
Antoine de Beck. With the fact that it was shown that late as well. I was trying to find her. I was just trying to find when it was shown here. Yeah, it was 98. It was 98 here. Yeah, that was right, because it wasn't. Lovejoy was saying it's on Channel 4. I remember now. Yeah, that's right. Because it was a big thing, because obviously there's no rivalry between Sky and Channel 4, was there? So Sky didn't take it till years later on. because they had people from, unless there was someone on the show from Channel 4 that day, maybe that's how they got around it. But I know that he was definitely the one who said it was on 10 o'clock, and I just looked and it was 10 o'clock, that first one. So, from on council TV for everyone in the country to watch. And then you got Cartman gets an anal probe, and you think, yes, this is going from Beavis and Butthead to this. Yeah. This is better.
Yeah, absolutely. So originally I was going to hand over to Ed to talk us through this bit because he would be the outside of the group, but unfortunately he's busy tonight, so I've got the questions for us to discuss. First question I've got, the Cartman dilemma. Like, how do you root for a character that is an absolute monster? At what point does Cartman stop being a funny brat and start being a character that makes it hard to stomach? Because you can't like him. He's a cunt. He's the worst person in the world in this show. So, like, where is the line with him? How can you get behind him as a character?
It almost makes no sense, the fact that this is what we've done for 20 odd years. That he's ridiculous. You know how despicable he is. And yet you want him to be more despicable, and you want him to do worse things because it's just funny. And it doesn't really make any sense. Like, you know that he's going to get his comeuppance at the end, and that's the fun part.
I don't think you ever root for him. You never want him to succeed. You want to see him be a prick and get his comeuppance at the end of it, don't you?
Well, there's sometimes when he does succeed, and I'm guessing that episode's on yours as well.
Almost certainly.
But when he does get away with things, it's almost like open mouth shock, because you know he's gonna come back on him somehow. And that's part of the fun of it, I think, because he is such an idiot. You are laughing with him and at him at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's how you have to look at him. Like, you don't look at him as a character. He's a natural disaster almost. Like, he's outside of being a character. He's so much more a force of nature than he is like an actual character on the show. Because much like I said about Moses, like how he's everything to everybody, I feel like Cartman's a little bit of that. Whatever you need him to do to be the cunt is what he's going to do in that episode. And I think that's how you get around it. He's not a sympathetic character. He's just the worst. And that's how you have to view it, I think. And I think it plays quite nicely with Butters as well, because obviously he's super sympathetic on the flip side of things. So I think that Butters almost counterbalances him. And I think that's how they do so well together. The show is famous for its giant douche versus turd sandwich philosophy. The idea that both sides of the argument are usually stupid. In 2026, is that middle ground approach still brave, or is it just a way to avoid actually standing for something?
It's never stood for anything, and that's why it's so good, and that's why it's still on. Because there's plenty of things. If you want to go politics, you go right, left, whatever. You can find your own things with that, but it will literally take the piss out of everything and anything. And I know those people moaning about obviously the last few years and how they didn't target certain people, but Joe Biden being a doddering old bloke who didn't really know where he was just, what do you do with that anyway? Like, it's not funny. It's just tragic. So there was no real comedy in it. The comedy was just looking at him and the situation itself. So it wasn't like they were staying away from it, because they didn't. They just did it in a different way because he wasn't a target. And obviously the last season was perfect because it's the biggest joke ever. So it makes perfect sense to me. And I think if it did pick a side, everyone always thinks that it's picked a side anyway. Regardless of what they do, they always think it's picked a side, which was like the one going after the other, saying, "Look, they've done it to you now," and all this kind of thing. Well, really, they don't care. Yeah, they might be more liberal, but the way they are and the way they talk, but like they both say, they don't really care. And I think that's why it works.
I think like there is a reason that the term South Park a Republican became a thing, because they did go through a period of time where they just sort of, they mocked both, but it was kind of disproportionate. And I feel like they struggled to find a balance for a little time. And South Park has always been at its best when it is a truth teller. When it's been a troll and just hiding behind, it was all a joke. It does feel like they've just sort of been hiding from being held accountable. And I think that period of time, probably from the start of Trump 1 to the end of Biden, I don't think they were quite as biting as they could have been. Like in bigger terms, I know they had a few episodes about like the streaming issues, but they kind of pussyfooted around stuff in a way that I don't associate with the best of South Park. And they've done it on a couple of occasions as well, where I think they've just got it wrong. So like Man Bear Pig, for example, which Man Bear Pig, obviously it's an allegory for the climate crisis. And by just sort of giving this both sidism, like, so they're giving equal footing to actual scientific evidence and conspiracy cranks, like that's not being centrist, is it? That's being very lopsided. And I think the fact that they did an apology in episode of Man Bear Pig, they said to Al Gore, "Oh, it was real all along. We're sorry we didn't believe you." I think they recognise that they probably fucked it a little bit on that episode. I do think that they can afford to be a little bit less apathetic at times, because the giant douche versus a turd sandwich argument, you know, that both sides are bad, like that's not really engaging with the realities of the world. Like, yes, both sides are bad, but you're talking about literal Nazis and people who just don't want you to use slurs. Like, there's a fucking world of difference between it. And the argument of just saying they're all bad is not engaging with the realities. And that's where I feel like they were in this holding pattern for like probably about 5 or 6 years pre-COVID to, like I say, at the end of Biden's run.
Yeah, but that's what no one ever agrees on politics stuff, because like for me, it's always been your fair game. I mean, that's kind of how I am anyway with my thing. I'm as probably a centrist. Well, probably people will say that I'm right-wing Nazi, but I would say slightly right-centre now. But if you want to badge these things, I used to be the way. But then I can appreciate taking a piece out of one side and the other. Like there's stuff on that side that you'd say is not as bad, and I'd say, well, that's 10 times worse because what it could represent and lead to, and blah blah blah. But you'd say the same thing on the other side. So I think that's why it's good, though, because no other show creates conversations like South Park does, and it's an animated adult piss take.
And that's why it's incredible, isn't it, Liz?
Yeah, and that's why it's so clever. It's
I do just think that they've had a moment in their run where that saying, if you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. They were doing that a little bit, and it just felt like they were treading water in a way that probably from season 8 to season 18, that I think they just fucking nailed everything, and they just sort of struggled a little bit through that period. So they've had their moments. Like, they're not immune to criticism, but there are very few shows who've done anywhere near as good as what they've done.
The one where they had to blur out, well, if they did, or Comedy Central did, when they blurred out Mohammed,
yeah,
I thought, just do it, just see what happens, and they bottled it.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, that was taken out of their hands.
Yeah,
it was a studio edict that they wouldn't show him again, even though he'd already been shown once on it. And I wonder how that impacted them, because that does feel like it was the beginning of a bit of a lull for South Park. Like, the comedy was still good, but I don't think the targeting of the satire was quite as on point.
Yes, I remember being really mad at that when they just blurred. Is it a black screen or there was a message on it? I can't remember.
Yeah, there was like the censor bar thing over it, wasn't it? It was, and then obviously they just wouldn't show the other half of the episode. Like, they've only done that a couple of times, I think, where they've just said we're not the ironically enough, the Tom Cruise trapped in the closet episode. To never again. They've had a few of those where they're worried about the litigiousness of it all, which from someone who claims to be an equal opportunity offender just feels a little bit shallow. But I wonder how much is them and how much is Comedy Central or Paramount or whoever it is who's in charge now.
Yeah.
For the last several seasons, the show has shifted focus from the four boys to Stan's dad, Randy. It does focusing on midlife crisis rather than the midlife crisis of a father means that the show has officially grown up and lost its youthful edge.
I think that you, as always, they write what they know, so it makes some kind of sense. I think the Randy stuff was, and you can kind of see it where the integrity stuff's been kind of. No, it went on too long for me. I didn't.
Same.
That was one of my criticisms. Like it was funny at the time, but to do a whole season there and it be every week, so this is no. This didn't need to happen. But Randy's been there from like when you start rewatching like the early ones, and Randy has been there in the background the whole time, and but making him one of the stars was probably a mistake to do it for as long as they did. But then there's no other way of getting some of the stories into it with fourth graders, so it makes some kind of sense, I guess.
It does, but Randy's one of those characters where less is more, I think.
Yeah.
Because he's so far out of the realms of all the other adults. He's so ridiculous that I think when you have a season just of him, it's just too much. So, yeah, I agree. I think they lost their edge a little bit. But at the same time, they're now middle-aged men. So you are right. They're just writing what they know with him, aren't they, I think? Yeah. I would prefer them to get back to, the heart of the show, which is the boys. But has it lost its youthful edge? I don't know if... Then again, maybe it has. We're 40-year-old men, Stu, so it appeals to us. But I don't know, does South Park... Do the kids still watch South Park?
This is what I was thinking. I don't think they do. And I don't think it matters either, because obviously its audience is us.
Yeah.
And like, how on earth do you get into South Park now? Because nothing makes sense. Nothing's ever made any real sense anyway. But you've got 28 years worth of stuff to catch up on. I know we said about The Simpsons last week, where you can kind of take it as is, but we can't. South Park, you could not do that. You have to go back to a certain point and start from. Like, there's even references sometimes to early stuff that even I forgot about.
Like, you could probably watch 2 episodes per season and catch up, but there'd have to be specific episodes. Like, I don't think you could just pick and choose random episodes. There are episodes that do have longer term importance. Like, you'd have to watch the Who's Cartman's Father episodes. Like, you'd need to watch those to get stuff. Like, it's elastic, retroactive continuity, but it is contained somewhat that you do need to run with it a little bit. You couldn't just jump in, I don't think. No,
I think and I think if you could, it's if they wanted to as well, which I don't think they would, because like I've had this with the youth at work, like constant battles over everything. That like whenever you say anything to them about this kind of thing, and you say, "Well, South Park," and I don't watch South Park. I've never seen South Park. I mean, it's almost like it's seen for something for us, and they're not going to. But then you go to B&M, as I did on Tuesday.
Yeah,
South Park dolls again. Well, the same ones that we used to have. The plush figures, and the cuddly toys, they're back. So they can't just be. I mean, they might just be putting them in there for us. It wouldn't surprise you anymore, would it? But
it's in the toy section, isn't it? So yeah. Have you got any South Park plushies or anything, Stu?
Not anymore. I don't know where they went. I had all 4 of them, and the 4 boys, and I had when I bought the little ones, the little resin figures that are over there. But I had them for, and I had a chef one as well. I just don't know where they went.
I've got the chef large plush. I had that. That was one of the first things I had when the show was out. That was the one that sticks out to me.
So it was them 4 in chef, because that's what it was in the early days.
Yeah, pre-Timmy, pre-Jimmy. Yeah,
even saying chef, like chef hasn't been in it for years.
No. When did Chef actually leave? I mean, it's got to be It's got to be in the end of the noughties, maybe 2008, something like that.
Well, it's when they turn him into a paedophile and then into a robot.
When did March 2006. It's been over 20 years since Chef left South Park. It's interesting because recently it came out from, I believe, Isaac Hayes' son. I don't know if is it Isaac Hayes Jr. potentially. I can't remember. Saying that he never wanted to leave. It was the Church of Scientology who basically told him that he's leaving, which sort of makes sense. And I want to believe that maybe that's what it is. That I want to believe that Isaac Hayes was okay with it, and it was other people getting their knickers in a twist.
I mean, is Isaac Hayes dead? I presume so.
Yeah.
And the fact that he did an album, the Chef Aid album.
Love that album.
And the fact he didn't take himself too seriously, it was always very odd that he'd leave. Especially at that age.
Yeah, 2008 he passed away. So he would have been 63 when he left. Because he died when he was 65. So, yeah. It just...
Suspicious.
It feels very wrong, doesn't it, that whole thing, that the way that went down. And it's left a bad taste, that one. And like, Isaac Hayes is too cool to be a Scientologist. As much as I'd like Tom Cruise, he's not a cool guy, is he? Let's be honest. He's a bit of a dork. But Isaac Hayes was cool, and I don't like it. It's not fair.
Yeah, and like Mephisto as well.
Mm-hmm. And his weird little homunculus thing.
Yeah. Like all of them, they're just gone. Other than they were in the games, the two Obsidian games. They're mentioning them, but they were love letters to the series anyway, so that made sense. But yeah, like there's too much for the kids to catch up on. It's ours. Yeah,
I think it is very much so, isn't it? It's been pointed out that South Park takes no prisoners. Has there ever been a time where the commentary has become cruelty? Has South Park ever crossed the line? I had to Google it because there was nothing that immediately sprang to my mind. Any controversies that came up because of it. So, Ginger Kids having no soul.
Yeah,
This isn't really on them, in fairness. So, obviously, it was a parody of racial prejudice. The word ginger is an anagram of another very offensive word. It's a parody of that. And that's what they were doing. However, it then was taken on by other people and then led to like National Kick a Ginger Day and stuff like that.
I remember.
I don't think South Park crossed the line. I think the people who watched it crossed the line because some people just have no chill. Like they can't just accept the joke and haha, that's funny. They have to then abuse ginger people because of it. That's not particularly good. Steve Irwin being in hell, which I don't even remember this, but apparently there was a bit of a furore because when they were
swordfish,
like they're not saying anything about Steve Irwin. They're not saying like it's not like Jimmy Savile where something came out years after his passing. They weren't making any commentary on it. It was just, oh, Steve Irwin's such a piece of shit. He's in hell. That I sort of get that because what's the joke there? Bit of
I think it wasn't a swordfish, was it? It was a ray.
Yeah, manta ray, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think they just put him in there, didn't they? They didn't think about it. They just put him in there because he was dead, and they were in.
I think in retrospect, I can see why people would be a bit pissy about that because Sarah Jessica Parker being a literal horse again. Like the joke is that she's an unattractive woman to the point of being a horse. Like that's not satire, is it? That's just been a bit of a high school arsehole. Same with Phil Collins and Barbara Streisand. Like, they're not critiques of these people. They're just mocking the way they look, which I think South Park's better than that, generally speaking. Like, they can... Like, one of the other names they mentioned was Caitlyn Jenner. Because of, obviously, her having transitioned, they make her look like a ghoul, and people have said that's horrible. But she's a horrible person. So they're making her look like a monster because she is a fucking monster. It's not because she was born a man. It's because she's a cunt. That's why they make her look awful. Whereas like Barbara Streisand, Phil Collins, and Sarah Jessica Parker are just people who look unusual. So I do think there are times that they've not quite hit the target.
I mean, my reaction to that just kind of says it all. But none of these things they actually started, though, did they? They picked up and ran with them, because we all said, like, the whole ginger thing of gingers have no souls. That was a thing at school. Like, we all because you can see through them and all this kind of thing. Like, it's schoolboy stuff, which is the show is a schoolboy show.
Yeah,
and that's why this stuff works. And I remember when Sex and the City came out, and it's only like what Baddiel and Skinner were doing to Jason Lee and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's you critique what you see, and I remember that was years before they did it, the whole horse thing. So yeah, so I mean, the fact that they don't do that anymore is probably a sign.
I think so, because you're not criticising Sarah Jessica Parker, you're just saying she looks like a horse. Which, if you want to be a prick and say that, you can say that on fucking Twitter, because it's just the way of the world, isn't it? I think when you're a show as big as these, you probably do have a bit of a responsibility to not be a dick, especially when they've criticised South Park. They've criticised Family Guy for those kind of jokes. So I think they're better than that. If I'm being honest, I think it was a lapse in judgment, if anything. South Park's characters never ages, but unlike The Simpsons, the world around them does. Does the floating timeline work better here because the show is reacting to real events in real time?
I mean, I've got nothing to compare it to, but it makes a lot more. It makes sense to me because, like I said, with Bond, like it's of its time. Like every year is a year of them being in fourth grade. Other than when it was third, and then it went to fourth grade. So they have gone up 1 year once.
In 30 years, nearly, yeah.
So it does make some kind of sense, because obviously the amount of Christmas episodes that they had as well. You can't have 8 Christmases.
That's true.
And still be the same age. It's like, it doesn't really matter. But if you did age them up and they're 25 and at work, it doesn't work anymore, does it? So everyone knows what they're getting into. Every year of South Park is the first year of them being in fourth grade.
I think both South Park and The Simpsons have their own ways of handling their own continuity, because South Park is a social commentary show for large parts of it. It needs to be set in the modern day. Whilst the characters don't age, just timeline goes with it. Because The Simpsons don't age, you can't really not have the technology and stuff go with it. So whilst it may not be bang up to date, and it's not particularly, the jokes aren't relevant outside of the Simpsons world, I think that's how they handle it. So I think they both handle it well, but they both do it in two separate ways, because they're two very different types of comedy. Like, one's commentary, one isn't. So I think that's how they find their balance within their world. And I think that's what works best for both of them. Like, if you swapped it around, I don't think it would work.
Well, and the fact that they killed the same character every single week for years.
Yeah, that's exactly it, yeah. South Park was once the most subversive thing on TV. Now, it's a legacy brand on a major streaming platform. Can a show built on shock, offence, and anti-establishment energy still be subversive when it is part of the establishment? This is a very similar question to what you asked last week on The Simpsons. They're part of the establishment now. So it was built on that. Are they still liable to be a subversive? I would say, having seen the last season, which opened with an episode with Trump's dick starring in it at the very end, yeah, it absolutely can. They didn't seem to give a shit that they were just given $1 billion contract to a company that kowtowed to Trump and his cronies. They went full fucking force, to the point that Trump was in a gay relationship with Satan and was trying to abort his baby. Yeah, it was fucking subversive. They still are. And I would say they've probably been more subversive in the past 6 months than they have in probably the previous 6 years.
Yeah, I think that much freedom, knowing that they can do whatever they want, because the money's in the bank. It's like, okay, this is what we'll do then. And they very much did it. And the first time you saw Vance, and it hurt.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to episodes after, but that first episode is an all-timer. It was ridiculous.
Completely unexpected.
To go from, like you said, it's South Park, it's still funny and humorous at times, to being laugh out loud
every week,
pain-inducing,
hilarious. There was something in every single episode in the last season that was like audible laughter at. It was just fantastic.
I mean, there was a lot of it where you did have to have some kind of knowledge of who these people were. Mm-hmm. So from that point of view, I
was texting Todd like pretty much every episode, like, who's Peter Thiel? What's he like? There was always someone. I was like, I just need a little bit of background info on.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, obviously listen to a lot of American podcasts and being in group chats with them all. You kind of pick this stuff up. I think there was one. There was only one of when her face kept falling off.
Yeah.
I knew who she was because of all the press stuff about ice and whatever.
The dog shooting and stuff as well was like a thing. Yeah.
It's just perfect. So if they can do that against a government that's literally deported people for rightly or wrongly, and they still just do whatever they want, nothing's stopping them.
No. Right, build your top 5. So I want your favourite episode, your favourite song, your favourite secondary character, your favourite catchphrase, and your favourite moment. Let's go through one at a time. Favourite episode, Scott Tenorman Must Die. Is that the episode? Because that's mine.
I wrote down 5 for moment and episode. I know what... Let me think then.
Fun with Weapons is fucking outstanding. I loved that one. That's one of my favourites. What are some of your top 5 that you've got on there?
I mean, it does. Scott Tenorman was the first one I wrote down.
Yeah,
obviously, because it sums everything up.
It's a legendary, isn't it? I think that was the moment that it went from great to one of the all-timers.
I had Woodland Christmas as well because I love that.
Yeah.
Casa Bonita, of course.
I mean, not an episode, but the film is one of my favourite films. Like, it's in one of my top 5 most enjoyable movies. That's like, we haven't really touched on the film, but I love that film.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably more of a moment thing, so I'll put in moment mentions. But what is the name of the episode? There's one, I mean, the episode that for years, was my favourite one. The Death Camp of Tolerance. When he's trying to get sacked, and he's getting worse and worse, and then you have Lemmy Winks and... the first time...
Lemmy Winks. Oh my God, the first time when he puts the expanding jar glass into his anus. Like, I'm not even saying I lived a sheltered life. I didn't live a sheltered life, but that was just... It was like the first time I heard Uncle Fokker as a 16-year-old watching the film. It was like, this is just so funny. I might die from laughing because it's too much.
Yeah, it was... When you get that, and then he's in there, and there's the Gadata Fish's riddle. I mean, I watched that episode on my wedding day. When the morning I got married, I watched that with a few cans.
Incredible.
Before we left the house, and it was just so absurd.
Yeah,
and the fact that then most of the episode is based on these other characters that are in one thing, and then obviously Lemmy Winks is in the game as well briefly, but just stuff like that where it is laugh out loud stupid.
Yeah,
and you don't get that anywhere else.
One episode that when I looked at some of the other ones, it's always like really highly rated, Make Love Not Warcraft. I mean, I like it. I think it's good, but I don't think it's one of the greatest. It feels a touch overrated. Maybe it was just the timing of it, because that was when World of Warcraft went huge.
Yeah, and the fat guy at the desk turned into a GIF and a meme.
Yeah.
PC gamer kind of stuff. I think he's got more of a legacy than it's been a good episode.
Yeah, I think I agree. Cartman forms a boy band. The boy band being called Fingerbang always made me really laugh.
Bang.
Yeah, fantastic. Favourite song?
I mean, the one that I presume it's from the film. Carl's Mum's Bitch.
Yeah, like he did a couple of performances and versions of it on the show, but like he did it in full on the film, didn't he?
Yeah, and Ladder to Heaven as well.
Yeah, that's a great.
Where are you?
Yeah. I think, as a fan of The Little Mermaid, I can't look much further than up there. From the film, Satan singing that he wants to be up there. And like, genuinely, the line, without evil there could be no good, so it must be good to be evil sometimes, is fucking brilliant. I just, that is such a great soundtrack. Where do you stand on Chef's chocolate salty balls? Because that had a moment, didn't it? Like, that was everywhere for a while.
Put them in your mouth and suck them. I had the album, like I said. I had the single.
I've got it.
I had the poster. I had the balls.
I've got Mr. Hankey's Christmas classics as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, every South Park one that came out, I was like, I've got to buy it.
I had the script book as well for the first season.
I didn't know they did that.
Is. Yeah, it was the full script of the first season.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't know. I've never seen anything like that before or since.
I've got the Alan Partridge, every ruddy word. Yeah, they did one for like the first. I think it was Knowing Me, Knowing You. I'm Alan Partridge, season 1 and 2. Well, obviously he's done so much more since, but yeah, I've seen the odd one or two, but there aren't many shows that do that. Favourite secondary character?
Now, it would have been Towley, but again, he got ruined by being in it too much.
Towley was like brought in because he was the worst character they could find. But they were so big, they was like, we'll create the worst character we can imagine, and he'll still blow up. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I had a Towley towel.
In fairness, the Oprah's Pussy episode is one of the worst episodes of anything I've ever seen. It's absolutely atrocious. And that was Towley centric, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Mr. Hankey there as well. I mean, that was the few, until again, in the first few times on the first episode, and then when he comes back with the kids.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, I didn't like Jimmy. And it's because a great audience and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The cripple camp, and it's just, I mean, having a cripple fight in an animated TV show is just...
Yeah. That's one of the best moments. Like, I mean, we'll get onto moments in a minute, but that's up there for me. I love that. Especially like having watched They Live last year and getting the full reference of it. It's brilliant. I think Butters is my favourite. Because he's just such a weird little kid, but because of the way he is, that I think it helps elevate Cartman's evilness. I think he serves a good purpose, Butters does, in balancing him out. So I think that's why he's my favourite. Yeah, and I kind of like that he's such an underdog because he's bullied by everybody, including his parents. Like even they hate him. So yeah, yeah, it is. So yeah, I think Butters is my favourite non-boy. Favourite catchphrase? I'm not sure. I'm HIV positive. I like that one. And Mr. Garrison, when talking about women, I'm sorry, I just don't trust anything that bleeds for 5 days and doesn't die.
I mean, I remember saying to Milo at the time, no kitty, that's a bad kitty, when he knocked something off my shelf. And doing it completely off the top of my head and not even meaning it. And I thought, oh no, this is the thing. I mean, Cartman's cat's disappeared as well. You don't see that very often anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Like cheesy poofs and all the early stuff.
Beefcake. I always quite like that episode where he was putting on mass. Yeah.
And respect my authority and all that kind of thing. That there was whenever Garrison said "take your seats" as well, just in that accent, it's always like something's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Garrison, he probably deserves like a mention for favourite secondary characters as well, because he's another one who's he's had so many different lives throughout the show, and they've all been just the most incredibly off the wall things. I don't think there's been a bad Garrison centric episode.
No, I mean, Mr. Slave.
Slave. That was hilarious. So, favourite moments?
Well, I do like how member berries is a thing now. Like people just say, like whenever anything comes up, like a Marvel film, is nostalgia, and member berries is what people say. Yeah, and that's literally from the one episode of South Park where the member berries are in it. And that's when South Park was long after it was everyone talking about it. I don't know how it's become a thing.
It's probably because of like the memification of it, because there was a time that people would post the meme of the member berries. So I would imagine it's purely from that, because I don't imagine a lot of people would have seen that episode.
Remember?
Randy Marsh, Bat Dad. I'm sorry, I thought this was America. Robert Smith coming to save the boys from Mecha Streisand. Like, I fucking love Robert Smith, and I think that episode is why I got into The Cure, because off the back of that. So I love that one as well.
I mean, when Randy gives himself testicular cancer and they're bouncing on the bollocks like space operas.
Yeah. When Stan turns 10 and realises that everything is shit. I'm like, I get it. Like, there's some real sort of like self-awareness to South Park that I think is exceptional at times. They hit the nail on the head.
I mean, Big Strong Woman. That was Macho Man Randy Savage.
Christ. Yeah. Again, another thing that's probably lived on through memes more so than anything else.
And I mean, I had one that, which is, it's so relevant. It's more relevant now than when it was, with Kanye being a big gay fish.
Yeah. It's weird because I remember at the time, like, he was just like, you got me, that's funny. And then all of a sudden, he was like, oh, no, I'm going to kill you all. What a weird fucking guy he ended up being.
And they got it right again?
Yeah, on the fucking money completely.
Motherfucking gay fish.
Yeah. Right, so next week we'll be talking about the Seth MacFarlane of it all. Where do you stand on Family Guy, Stu? Like, do you still watch it, or have you given it a ghost on it as well?
I only really watched like a season and a bit here and there. It was never really one. It was always on. It was like a dinner time thing. It was just on in the background. I never really paid much attention to it. It's like Futurama as well. That kind of time. So, I know it's probably more my brother's thing than mine. But the stuff I watched, I did enjoy. I did like giggle at, but it was never a ruffle moment. I never had one of them. Not with Family Guy. So when they did the Simpsons did it and the piss take episode and all that kind of stuff about them, and the manatees, I thought, that's perfect. That's exactly what it is.
The South Park manatees episode killed Family Guy for me, because that was all I could see after that point was, they really are just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, because these jokes aren't really jokes. They're just nonsense. But I still think it's quite an important cultural moment, especially because obviously it was cancelled after 3 seasons. The DVD sales were so strong that it was brought back. That's quite an important moment, I think, in the modern era.
And the whole Stewie thing, which is still going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, okay. So after the break, we will be talking about Soft Rain, and then we'll be doing the Cruise Cruise as we hit Days of Thunder. Welcome back to the short film review, Soft Rain from 2023. It is available on the YouTubes. I will put a link in the description to watch it. It is all of 7 minutes long, so we're getting quite short and sharp with them at the moment. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing either.
No.
Stu, would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first this week?
I'll go first because I think you're probably going to go deeper into this than me.
Okay, let me know when you want me to hit go on the timer.
Okay, I mean, I never thought I'd see the day where something animated that looks like it's come from Nick Park is about depression and member berries falling from the sky. It was bizarre. It's obviously the little pink, purple blobs with eyes symbolic of something, maybe suffering, maybe hope. Whether we get a yellow umbrella again, the second week in a few, maybe that's symbolic, maybe it isn't. Was it all in his head? Possibly, but I think that's kind of the point. And the fact that it opens the cupboard drawer to actual depression drugs, which is bold. And then the little message at the end saying about people are always suffering, which it made me think. I didn't expect that for 7 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you, Stu. Right. Soft Rain. A beautiful clay-like animated short centering on a man dealing with depression. His emotional landscape is rendered physically. It's a world drained of colour, warmth and textures. This man then experiences a sudden change when a downfall, not of rain, but of soft, pink, fluffy balls begins to pour upon him. I think this is a brilliant visual metaphor for medical intervention of mental health. It doesn't stop the rain, but it changes how he processes the rain. The edges are softened because of this medical intervention. While waiting at the bus stop, he's offered shelter under a stranger's umbrella, and in that shared space, his world lightens, feeling like a Broadway musical almost, if only for a moment. The film's return to grey is a poignant reminder that mental health isn't cured by a stranger's smile. It's an everyday reality, but these in-between moments can be worth their weight in gold. While the film ends it back in the grayscale and the man's depression continues, human kindness and empathy can help warm the cold times, if only for a moment that day. I really enjoyed this again. I feel like we're on a good run of these things, Stu.
It was exactly as long as it needed to be.
100%. I feel like the one we watched where you weren't here but you caught back up, the Stephen Yuen one, that's the only one that I think there's more on the table. Everything else, brevity is the soul of wit sort of thing. They know what they're doing with these things, and it's perfect. Yeah, it's really good. And I'm kind of glad that we've found this little segment because it's always been something I've wanted to watch more of, and this gives us a perfect excuse to get out there and try and find other bits.
And there's so many of them as well.
Loads, just loads. And yeah. So next week we'll be watching 2025's Boy, I'm Scared. On a walk on the beach, 3 friends from across the world share what may be their last conversation. It's animated. All I saw was it was an animated short, and obviously because we're doing animated stuff, that was the plan. We'll just keep it animated. I know nothing about it. I just hope we keep our keep going with our current run of form with these things. Days of Thunder up next. Welcome back to the final part of the podcast. 1990s Days of Thunder, released June 27th. Stu, I was bored shitless through this film.
Of course you were. Which is kind of surprising in a way. Because there's obviously one when we get to it later that's to recommend if you like this. I'd obviously seen this years ago,
right.
A couple of times. Um, it's basically live action Pixar Cars,
Yeah.
crossed with a bit of, well, from now Rush and one other. It's Top Gun on wheels with idiots and
Yeah.
a very strange accented Nicole Kidman.
Yes. Like, it. I don't actually know if I know what her actual accent is, because I know she's Australian,
She's Australian, yeah.
but I don't know if I've ever heard her not with a type of American accent. The more I think about it, like, I don't actually know.
Yeah, I have. It's pretty. It's not like Kylie. It's not far off. She did one for a Netflix series that she did last year. There was promotional stuff for that on their YouTube channel, where she's talking in a normal accent, and it's not like Barrowman switching between Californian and Scottish. It's not that
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah, that is utterly bizarre, isn't it, to be fair?
And you can't have two first accents.
No, that doesn't work. That's bizarre.
Strange, man.
I mean, that's the tip of the iceberg, it seems, with Barrowman, in fairness. I quite liked the racing sequences, in fairness. Like, there are bits to enjoy about this film. My bigger problem is the fact that it's Top Gun again, but not as good, not as successful. Like, there's nothing particularly... Like, you'll never pick this over Top Gun in a million years. There's not... The characters aren't as well formed, I don't think, in this, comparatively. But I do think that, obviously, the racing sequences are kind of fucking great, in fairness. Like, they do rip in this. They look really good. The way Tony Scott shoots the cars, they look really hot and just quality. The score, I think, is pretty good. Hans Zimmer did the score on this. I thought he was good. Kidman did a good job with a pretty weak script. That's pretty much all the praise I can give her. Duvall's decent. Robert Duvall, I think, has got some emotional weight that kind of surprised me a little bit. I know we've seen him in other things previously where he was decent, but I almost expected him to phone it in this film, and he didn't. I think he did pretty well.
After a shot of glory,
I quite liked him in that. I thought, but then I saw him in this, and I thought, this just looks like popcorn fodder, and I'm not sure he's going to be interested, because we've seen him in stuff where he's interested and other stuff where he isn't, and you just think he's just one of those actors. Like, sometimes he looks like he's just there for the paycheck, but I think he had some actual emotional heft in this movie.
Yeah. Randy Quaid.
Yeah. Yeah, the character arcs are very thin. I just don't think there's much to this movie. And the fact that it's like almost 2 hours long, I don't really understand how they managed to drag it out, if I'm honest.
It's a sport. It's a sports film. Getting racing a sport, but same category. That's exactly what it is. You know exactly what's going to happen. You know how it's going to.
Yeah,
you know it's going to hit. It's going to hit all the beats. There's going to be controversy. There's going to be some incident that they're all going to come back together. They're going to make friends. There's going to be mutual respect, even if they don't like each other. Blah 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 blah. He's going to win out in the end. Exactly. Film by numbers.
I think that was my problem. It was so generic. It was too generic. There wasn't enough fun within the genre to really elevate any of it, I don't think.
But I think that's probably the problem of not seeing it before, because you look at how old this is, and then what's come since, they've just copied it.
And they've been much more successful copying the formula.
And this
potentially. But then I don't think it wasn't particularly well reviewed at the time either, this one. So I don't think it was like a hidden classic or anything.
Looking at it, they missed their timing window as well, and they had to do reshoots and stuff, and it was a bit of a nightmare.
Okay, makes some sense. The cruise checklist, does he run? There was a bit where he ran through the hospital, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and he runs at the end as well.
Yeah, he runs at the end through the, what you call it, the pits and stuff like that. He does take his shirt off in the hospital, doesn't he, as well?
Yeah, when he's being examined. Yeah.
Yeah. He wears sunglasses because we literally see him for the first time rolling in on a fucking hog of a motorcycle, wearing sunglasses and a leather. It was cool as fuck, in fairness. That is a pretty cool way to introduce your character. And I suppose because Tony Scott did Top Gun, like, he knows how to shoot Tom Cruise to make him look cool. So it makes sense, doesn't it, I think? Cruise doing Cruise things. Obviously, he did quite a lot of the real driving. So the Greg Sachs, I think, was one of the professionals who did some of the more dangerous stunts, but Cruise was still doing like 100-mile-an-hour laps on the track. He became obsessed with the mechanics of racing. We say this every week about fucking everything. Like, he played a bloody paraplegic last week and he became obsessed with that. He just... I think whatever script is in front of him is like, oh, I need to know everything about this. Just a
Did you
madman.
see that Nicole Kidman wanted to go on a course for neurosurgery as well? And he said, no, it's unnecessary. So they stopped doing it.
Mental. Apparently, he co-developed the story here. So this is like very early Cruise as producer, which also he was instrumental in Kidman coming onto this film. So he saw her in Dead Calm, which isn't a film I'm aware of, but he saw her in that and was like, I want her acting opposite me in Days of Thunder, which leads us nicely on to Scientology Watch this week. So, Tom Cruise's first wife, Mimi Rogers, was a second-generation Scientologist. Her father was a high-ranking individual who had a falling out with the church's leadership, presumably including church leader David Miscavige. So with Cruise being like one of the biggest names in the world at this point, it created something of a difficult dynamic. So Miscavige wanted Cruise to be their poster boy, but his father-in-law is on the outs with the organisation. So Miscavige would have been worried about losing his pay pig pretty much. According to two of the biggest defectors, Marty Rathburn and Mike Rinder, who, if you listen to, I think it's the Going Clear podcast, Mike Rinder does quite a lot of anti-Scientology stuff. He's a fascinating guy. They both said that Miscavige wanted to separate Cruise from Rogers. It's alleged that Miscavige used information from Cruise's private auditing sessions to manipulate him into ending their marriage. Rogers and Cruise entered Scientology's version of marriage counselling. The LRH marriage hat is what they call it. This is a process where both parties sit down with the third party, an auditor or supervisor of some kind, and an e-meter, and they unload all of their overt, harmful feelings towards each other. So this is like telling every negative action or thought they've ever had against the other party. Like if they thought their breath smelled, if they thought their partner was holding them back professionally, if they'd been unfaithful. Like it was everything from petty grievances to major betrayals to deep-seated resentments. And this is all done under the guise of trying to save their relationship. But obviously, unveiling every bad thought you've had about another person, more often than not, that damages the foundation of the relationship. It doesn't save it. And that's pretty much what happened here. So if an auditor hears Tom Cruise confess that he's no longer attracted to Mimi or is interested in somebody else like Nicole Kidman, that information is recorded, and according to the defectors, the church used these private tapes to pressure Rogers into agreeing to a quick, quiet divorce, effectively using their own confessions against her to move her out of the way to get Kidman in. So Cruise and Rogers were then divorced in February 1990. Cruise and Kidman met in 1989 on this film. Cruise described their meeting as instant lust, and they were married before Christmas that year. So it all seems like Scientology were puppet master in this whole situation. Which is interesting because Nicole Kidman's dad is a psychologist, and psychology is like the enemy of Scientology. They don't like, any sort of mental health issues or anything like that.
Mm.
But they just wanted to keep Cruise under their thumb, it seems. So they overlooked these slights of these things that were wrong with Kidman in their eyes. Quite interesting, I thought.
I mean, you could see that just the two of them on screen together, the chemistry. So it's not you can't. Whoever good he is, you can't make that look like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony Scott famously described the production on this film as a chaotic event. The script was being written as they filmed it. And I sort of think you can see that because the script isn't very good. Robert Duvall reportedly enjoyed working with Cruise, noted he was very intense, almost singular focus on the technical aspects of the production. We hear this time and again from everyone he works with. It's just the way he is, I think. The Big Three Awards cumulatively were up to 18 wins, 33 nominations for films featuring Cruise. We need to add another nomination to that list because this was nominated for Best Sound at the Academy Awards. Kind of surprising, but then at the same time, I think films involving racing cars do tend to do pretty well for sound editing and stuff like that. So not massively surprised at the same time.
Yeah, and you are. These people can tell the difference between a V8 and a V10 and all that kind of stuff, and it's not overbearing stuff. It's meow, meow. No, it's not just that. It's like the grunt of them and all that kind of stuff. And even though like metal on metal,
yeah,
is excellent.
Yeah, definitely. The critical response at the time was mostly negative. Roger Ebert said, entertaining example of the Tom Cruise picture. The key ingredients are still effective. It's not what he does that makes him special. It's the way he manifests everybody's faith in him. Gene Siskel said that Days of Thunder is a flimsy but nonetheless compelling story. Strong supporting performances complement the on-track visuals. Janet Maslin said Tony Scott does his utmost to pump the audience's adrenaline. The big moments don't seem that different from the small ones. The modern reassessment is that it's messy but fun. It's a cult favourite. Pure early 90s Cruise energy. And I think like the NASCAR community hold it as close as like a Bible almost. It's quite important in their community from what I can tell. The budget and box office for the film, it had a 60 million budget, taking us up to a cumulative total of 230.8, and the box office was 157.9 million, which gives us a cumulative total of 1,585.7 million. He's just hot shit, isn't he? There's just no other way of putting it. Everything he touches turns to gold.
So even in a film like this, it's not very loved by film people. It's very niche. It's very paint by sport numbers. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. I would double.
You can't imagine like this film without Tom Cruise would have much appeal, but with him just casually getting almost 3 times the budget back, just incredible. Cage or Cruise?
Oh shit, who wouldn't work with him? Just because he doesn't. Nicolas Cage in a car doesn't seem right. I don't know what it is. There's something about
gone in 60 seconds.
I know. This is why it doesn't make any sense. Because one of the most fun yet shit films he's done is that one. There's a Ghost Rider as well, and Spirit of Vengeance. But that's on a bike. So rather than
Drive Angry as well, of course.
Yeah. Like he seems more bikey than car-y. And he did just the idea of Nicolas Cage in a sports film. Like, it doesn't seem right at all.
No, I get you. I'm going to say Cruise because I would assume that if Cage was doing this, he wouldn't have done Wild at Heart, which is one of my favourite Cage performances. So I think that the scales are balanced here. You've got Cruise doing this and Cage doing what he should be doing. Weird shit. So yeah, absolutely. Is Cruise the saviour of cinema or just another sinner?
He's the saviour of the box office. I'd say that much. He's pretty good in this, like for what it is. He's not bad. It's not the best performance of his by the long way, but he's entertaining enough, and he brings the people in, obviously. So again, yes. Yeah,
like I didn't enjoy the film. In those respects, I would say he's a bit of a sinner. But at the same time, looking at it from today, it's another film with practical stunts, and really that's what I want to see in films. So for that purpose, I'd say he's the saviour. And like you say, that box office, keeping cinema going. And he continues to do this time and again. So like it's just tipping the scale slightly to saviour for me, but only just because I was bored for me. Like, I don't think this is the worst film that we've watched. We've definitely watched worse films. This might be the most bored I've been watching the one. Like, I did check out several times and have to rewind it.
But you're not a race person, though, either.
No, but at the same time, some of the films that I'm sure we'll be mentioning next, I have really enjoyed. So if you enjoy Days of Thunder, you may also like Ford versus Ferrari, is the one that I was going for. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. James Mangold is a director that I generally like. Bale I like. Matt Damon I'm a big fan of. It's the prestige version of this movie for me. I thought that was an exceptional movie.
Yeah, it was. And I wasn't going to use that here. But like how they did this, where it says that 2 additional cars were added to the rear of the field for shooting them for the film in actual Daytona races. Exactly the same way as they did in F1, the movie.
That was the other film that I was hoping you were going to mention. Yeah,
which is this film, but in F1. The same technique.
I enjoyed that. I thought that had a better story, and I think it had a better script. I think that's what does it for me. I feel like the characters were better rounded in that compared to this.
Yeah. It's also 25 years later on.
That helps. That does help, yeah.
But doing things practically, again, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise doing F1 would not have worked, not at his age.
I wouldn't put it past him trying.
Yeah, not so much his age, just a bit how he looks now. Because he hasn't aged as well as Brad Pitt, has he?
No.
But yeah, F1 pretty much copied the same techniques as this film and did a better job of it.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you want a NASCAR film, watch Talladega Nights. Yeah,
that's another film that actually is quite good fun. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Will Ferrell, as we've established, but I think that film's decent. The only other film I'd say to watch is Top Gun, because it's the same beats, but just done a lot better.
All goal, the journey begins.
Don't watch that shit. Right, okay. So we're done with Thomas Morpatha Cruise for this week. Next week's show, it's another Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman film, directed by Ron Howard. Okay. Far and Away. A young Irish couple flee to the States, but subsequently struggle to obtain land and prosper freely. This doesn't sound that interesting.
No.
Fuck me, it's 2 hours, 20 minutes as well.
I've never heard of this film.
I consider this being I've heard of it. And if you look at like the images, it's got Gangs of New York style imagery to it. I don't know if it's going to be anything like it. I don't know any of the actors. Oh, Cole Meany's in it with his big Irish pudding head. That's the only one. Niall Tobin, I recognise him. Jared Harris. There's a couple of folks. Do I?
Yes.
Like, I don't recognise his face.
He's not the guy who was
Mrs. Doubtfire, Jonathan Lundy. He's the guy who owns the studio in Mrs. Doubtfire, isn't he?
Yeah. The studio exec.
You know, I have seen him in a couple of things. Broadcast News, Dead Man Walking. I've seen him in a couple of bits. I don't particularly recognise his face, though, I'll be honest.
Maybe because I watched Mrs. Doubtfire on the plane on the way back.
That might be why. Last Action Hero. When we do our Arnie versus Sly series, that'll be definitely one we need to watch. Right, okay, so that's next week. What was the other one? Oh, Boy, I'm Scared is going to be the short film review. I'll put the link in the notes for this week's Soft Rain. Thumbs up, watch it, Stu, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I said, I've not me personally, but I've had experience of search reading in this house. I know what it does. So, and it is, this film is spot on in what it does. So, yeah. 7 minutes of your life.
Agree from experience. Yeah, absolutely. Lovely little movie. 7 minutes, you can't really go wrong with something like that either, can you? Right, make sure you've got us on whatever podcast that you listen to us on. And if you could leave us a review, that would really help, because it would just give us that tiniest little bump to try and get other people's eyes on the product. We are apparently on YouTube as well, so I think if you listen to us on YouTube, that helps us on the algorithms, I assume. I don't know. Get in contact at Cage Fighting Pod on all of the socials, and it's cagefightingpod@gmail.com if you want to send us any emails. Stu, for this week, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, and before we watch all them and you watch all these, by the time we record next week, it'll be too late by the time the episode goes out. So you've now got you got 3 days to prepare yourselves for Eurovision by watching the Eurovision movie. Get involved.
Eurovision's on the 16th, is it?
Yeah. FA Cup in the afternoon. FA Cup final in the afternoon. Kebab. Eurovision for a day.
Atrocious. I don't think I'll be watching this show.
You got the bug now.
No, I haven't. It's a goodbye from me too, anyway. Be excellent to each other.